this Monster Energy, Holden. The Fords are not far away. Walton and Fisher on row 2. The final race at Symmons Plains is underway. As we head down to turn 1 and 2, can Nathan Pretty get the job done? Fisher can't. He's in the fence already.
Looked like he had contact there with Chris Walton, and he stalled the car. We can hear him trying to get started. He's very lucky that he wasn't collected, to be honest. So a bit of front damage to the front headlight there, and he'll be disappointed. You never want to start the race sort of facing the field with the field coming at you. So
big lock up from Cedars, runs it wide. Walton to 4th, Kim James 3rd. Wonder if we've got some action left up for this 4th and final race. The boys and girls will be tired.
Well, typically we get all our action at the hairpin at the start of the race, but we saw there with Walton and Fisher, the action started 100 metres off the start line.
And this is still going. Cedars and Walton side by side through the sweeper. But it's the Commodore boys who've kicked clear. 1, 2, 3.
And Donda's now up the inside of Baxter, so he's continuing his good weekend like we mentioned at the start of the race.
Pretty leading. He's minus his #1 mechanic, Jason McVean, this weekend. So this has been a great run. And he was 5th in the points coming here after Adelaide. If he stays up front and Walton can't work his way through, there's the very real prospect that Nathan could lead the championship after this race.
And he's had a great weekend. He's been competitive all weekend in the top 5, and he stayed out of trouble in the reverse grid race, collected good points.
Let's get to the bottom though, James. Auto 1 replay. There's the touch between Fisher and Walton. Hard to tell from that angle to see who was going where. This is better.
This will be a bit better. So unusual to have an incident. Like I said, you know, only 100 metres off. Oh, okay, so that's
make a call, get off the fence.
Here we go.
Has Walton moved across?
It doesn't look like Walton's moved across. Look, I'm just going to call that a racing incident. You know, really difficult to apportion blame to either of those two guys, but obviously disappointing for Andrew to end up facing the wrong way.
In car, the Auto 1 wildcard with Greg Crick. Peter Burnett has had a tough weekend. Didn't start race 2, 26th in race 3. That's another of the brand new FG Falcons. But it is certainly a Commodore cakewalk at the moment. They're 1, 2, 3, but Kim Jane just falling back into the clutches of David Cedars. But it's the Monster Man who leads the way. More from Tassie after the break. Back at Symmons Plains, this is the fight for 3rd spot. Kim Jane hanging on. David Cedars having a sniff. Newland in car shows the action. Cedars down the inside at turn 6, and James Moffat, he's fighting the lone hand for Ford here. The Commodores are dominating.
He is, and he would have been getting a bit of a benefit from the slipstream there, but he's run wide on the exit, and Kim James slid back through. So Cedars did all the hard work, got up the inside, and then threw it away by running wide on the exit. So he'll be disappointed with that, and he's going to have to do it all again.
Has to go back to the drawing board. Came into this weekend 9th in the championship. Had a bit of a tough run at the opening round in Adelaide. There's Chris Walton just behind that Renko Ford, position 5.
So it's clear, Aaron, that Chris Walton off, Fonzie Mullen off at turn 1.
Or has he beached it? That's the next question. If you look at that car front on, you'd swear it was Nathan Pretty.
I think they might have borrowed a few parts from that race 2 incident that we saw at the hairpin. So great of Nathan Pretty's guys to obviously lend Fonzie some panels so he can get through the rest of the weekend. But Cedars now again
sniffing,
but he's on the wrong side. So Kimbo's woken up to the fact that Cedars has got maybe a little bit more straight line speed, and then he's defending his line into turn 6.
Cedars, how good is he on the stoppers? Around the outside into turn 6. Now he's got to get turn 7 right. He's mucked it up a couple of times, but he hangs on. He's P3.
Kept it off that exit curb, and that's a great move, especially around the outside of Kimbo. But safety car is out, so hopefully David has been able to pull off that move before the safety car boards are out.
And that's what I was worried about with Fonzie Mullen. He tried to gas it up and ended up burying himself in the gravel. Jason Gomersall in that new iSeek Ford leaving the zone. Here is how Fonzie got there. Auto 1 replay. The corner goes left, but he was going right.
Yeah, so I wonder if he got a bit of a help from Jared McLeod. He was behind him there, but having said that, he could have done that all on his own. Fortunately, the replay, it does look like he might have just come in there a bit hot lost the rear of the car and around he went. So unfortunately couldn't keep it out of the...
I don't know that there was a touch there. We picked it up a little bit too late to
might
really
be doing
know.
Jared a bit of an injustice there. So
he's had a pretty good weekend in the McMahon Mining Commodore. This is how Jason Gobblesall ended up wide. Ryan Hansford down the inside, tried to close the door and couldn't. Got hung out to dry. Fonzie Mullen is out of the gravel. He'll leave some of it behind for them to at least catch up behind the safety car. So it will peel off this lap. Nathan Pretty will lead us back to the control line. Lots of years of experience of Oscar racing on the Thunderdome. Does know how to do a rolling start, and he's got us back and running really nicely. McConville and Cedars starting to challenge. Kim Jane hanging tough with them. And this sets up a 5-lap sprint.
It does. So Cedars, it looks like he's got a bit of speed on board that Falcon of his. So I wonder if he can do anything with McConville in front. But McConville looking a little defensive into the hairpin in the Bundaberg Commodore. Cedars now locking up that left front. So lucky to pull it up.
Times. Back with Greg Crick, NZ in-car, down the inside on Ryan Hansford. And we talked just a little bit about Cam McConville. He's down a tyre because he damaged one in qualifying, so he's a little bit compromised as the weekend's gone on, but he's happier with the parity between the cars. The balance in the Bundaberg Commodore has been getting better and better as the races have unfolded, and Walkinshaw Racing look like they've almost unlocked the secrets of success in ute racing. And Walton, though, knows how to lock up a brake and not fall off the road.
And, of course, Cameron's coming off that exclusion from Clipsal and the 40-point deduction he got. He's run wide here at turn 7, and that's all that Cedars needs to do to get back in front of him. So, yeah, the Bundaberg Commodores, I guess, got a lot of points to catch up, and hopefully he can throughout the year.
I get worried when we get that camera angle. It is still there. It hasn't been knocked off. McConnell in the points, as you mentioned, is this weekend coming in way back. He's, I think, 17th in the championship or somewhere about there. So this is a rebuilding weekend for the man they call Conkers. We'll see him back in action at the Enduros with Walkinshaw Racing. Probably expecting to be with James Courtney again for the Holden Racing team. They had a couple of top 10s in the Enduros last year. At this event last year, he was here as a driving standards advisor, ended up with his race suit having to be borrowed from Jason Brighton. Got a V8 Supercar drive putting in. We're on board with Jesse Dixon, Ice Break Coffee Commodore, the championship winning car from last year.
And that's Ryle Harris in front of him. So Jesse should just tuck in behind Ryle. We know Ryle's a hard charger, and you know, sort of, I guess, be able to slip through and pick him off with Ryle if he can. But Ryle looks like he's got a bit of speed on board that Falcon of his. Sam Walter now off the track.
Someone else is as well. Hard to see. This is Brad Patton's car that Sam's running for the weekend. He's a Tasmanian boy. We've seen him before in the Dunlop series.
Warren Millett is in trouble as well. So not the best weekend for Warren. We saw him caught up in that incident at turn 4, the hairpin in race 2. Walton all locked up again into the hairpin. But stick around. We'll go to the checkered flag after the break.
Back in Tasmania, we are on the run home. Race 4 of the weekend in round 2 of the Auto 1 V8 Ute Series, protected by Armour All. Danny Bazadzik here in the new FG Falcon. He's been involved in a little bit of drama this weekend, and he's taking on Greg Crick, who's done more laps of Simmons than probably anyone bar perhaps John Bow. Bazadzik, though,
no.
that's not how to do a lap of Simmons.
No, that's definitely right. I think probably pressured a bit there by Cricky, and brake too late into turn 6, locked the left front tyre, and no way that he could pull it up for the corner. So back here with Chris Walton, Craig Dontis.
And this is for 5th. Walton hasn't had the pace in this race to go to the top 4.
You're absolutely right. I wouldn't be surprised, like we've seen him lock that left front tyre a couple of times, so he might be carrying a little bit of a flat spot. But although he hasn't had the speed that we've seen him have in the first few races of the year, he's doing a good job of, I guess, collecting those points, Aaron, which is what you need to do to put a championship together.
And having a look at Ryle Harris, he is pressuring Gary Baxter for 7th place. Remember that he started from 17th, so this has been a good fight back from the Rexall Ford driver down the inside. Turn 6 is the place to slip on through, and with Walton and those lockups, you've got to remember that the tyres in Utes are not slick racing tyres. They're a groove tyre. They're a real compromise, so you can get away with it a little bit more than what you could perhaps in your Norton Falcon.
Yeah, that's right. So Yokohama, obviously, Ryle Harris now around the outside at turn 1. You don't really see that move happen too often. So he's definitely on a charge. He'll have the eyes on. Obviously, we've spoken about his exclusion from race 2, but just back on the tyres, they're what they call an R-spec tyre. So a radial tyre that you can run in the wet and dry conditions. So very much, I guess, compromised for both conditions, but Yokohama do a great job with the tyre.
How about Harris? Got that move done, slips on through and continues this charge back through the pack. He desperately needs to pick up the points. Here's McConville, Bundaberg Commodore.
And Kim Jane is now starting to put a bit more pressure on McConville, but I think Cameron will be pretty comfortable with the gap that he's got back to Kimbo there. Ryle Harris now has got in front of Chris Walton, so that's crucial actually for the round, because that means that Walton and McConville are now tied on points, but McConville will get it on countback for his higher finishing position in the final race.
Jesse Dixon is right in the mix here, trying to get by Adam Beachy, who's another of the Tasmanian locals who is a guru in Commodore Cup. He's driving a Falcon this weekend, though. 1 to go.
He won't know himself, you know. He's come from, I guess, a Commodore Cup car, and he's now driving a real car, a Falcon. So it's good to see Adam having a run this weekend, that's for sure.
Nathan Pretty is on his way home. We talked about how he won here in Nations Cup in the Monaro days. Looks like he might do it again. He's on his final lap. David Cedars has had some good pace. Trade Quip Falcon has been pretty hooked up.
He has. He's been the quickest car on the track, fastest lap of the race. And unfortunately for him, it looks like he's just going to run out of laps. But Nathan Pretty and the Monster Commodore, backing from Milwaukee Tools as well. He's had a great weekend, stayed out of trouble, and deserves this final race win and the round win.
I'm wondering when his old mate Randy Corners is going to show up and support him here for one of these rounds. But round 2 of the championship in Tasmania. This will be 2 race wins in a row for Nathan Pretty. The Holden men have stood up to the boys from Ford, and Nathan Pretty will pick up his first round win in the V8 Utes Series. He does it in style, and he now, would you believe it, is the championship leader. Oh no.
Still a bit of action going on in the final lap. Can't quite pick up who that is.
I think it's Travis Sharp into Wanda Commodore, and he went wandering at turn 6 and came back on at turn 7.
So great pictures there from inside Greg Crick's Auto 1 Commodore.
He managed to finish in 15th spot, so it's been great to have Cricky join in this weekend. We have a different driver rotate through that car at all the rounds, but Nathan Pretty takes the win. David Cedars second for the race, McConville third, Kim Jane next, and then a storming drive from Ryle Harris. But this really mixes it up in the Ute Series. The Ford boys were dominant in Adelaide. The Holden boys have responded, and that's how they finished in race 4. Walton was 6th, so he now is second in the championship. Dontis, Baxter, McNally, and Adam Beachy is the top 10 for the final race of the weekend. It's been a big one here in Tasmania. Jesse Dixon, Daniel Kennedy did a good job on debut in Jack Elsgood's car. Done 19th. Swanson rounds out the top 20. But Nathan Pretty is the man. He gets the job done and picks up his first round.